Welcome to the Greater Than Business podcast, where it's all about creating an amazingly successful business without sacrificing your quality of life, because life should be greater than business. And now, here is your host, Courtney Bedore.
This is episode 42 of the Greater Than Business podcast, and today we are going to be talking about managing a team remotely. So, if you haven't listened to the last couple episodes, we have been talking about transitioning your business to working from home or learning how to work from home and all of those other things. But one of the biggest things that I've been getting feedback on is how do you actually manage your team remotely? Now, most people working in the online space obviously know how to do this, but some could maybe use a little bit more help. So I wanted to kind of give you not necessarily the full-on lessons on how to set up an account and communicate with your team and all that stuff. I want to give you kind of the overview of really how to manage people remotely, manage their expectations, manage their workload, everything. So first off, simply, I'm just going to put it out there that you need two things to be able to manage your team remotely, maybe three. I'm going to start with two. The two main things that you need is a task management system and a way to communicate. That's it. Those two things will get you exactly where you need to be able to manage your team effectively remotely. So those two things can be as simple as one form of communication where you can talk it out, do whatever you need to do, bounce questions off each other, the same as if you were to pop into someone's office. Let's view it that way. So what I like to use is a program called Slack. And the reason that I like using Slack is because it allows you to have everyone in your office that would normally be in your office, or every single person that is a part of your team, to be in the same place, but yet they don't all have to be a part of the same conversations. So you can have little threads that if you're dealing with a marketing issue, then you only want the people in that thread that are related to your marketing department or whatever this marketing thing is that you're building out. So you want to make sure that you have all of those people in the correct channels, and then they can also private message back and forth. And as long as people are maintaining basically good chatter amongst the workplace, then your productivity won't go down. So you just want to make sure that people realize that this is a serious place. Although you're at home, you've got a whole lot of things going on, that you need to keep your communication related to work, and that there's only one place where work conversation should happen. So don't get stuck in email threads. If you haven't already noticed, I hate email communication and email threads. So that is why I use something like Slack that allows you to kind of bring everyone together, and you're less likely to have conversations that will get lost. The second thing that you need to do is obviously manage your projects. And that is why you need a project management tool, because it will allow you to assign tasks to people, make sure that things are getting done, and allow you to kind of see the overarching view of everything in your business. And that is something that is incredibly important when you're working remotely, because you need to make sure that the people that are doing specific jobs and tasks in your business are actually getting them done, and that they know that they're due and they know what the task is. And this allows people to take ownership for their tasks, be able to figure out when in their day they can do it. And that's essentially it. You need to have those clear and laid out expectations and tasks so that people actually know what they're supposed to be doing. Because if not, they're just going to log in their computer and stare at it for the majority of the day. And that's not cool. That's not what you want to be doing when you have a team working remotely. You want to make sure that when they log in, they see, okay, I've got 5 things due today. I can do 3 now, I'm going to have lunch, and then I'll do 2 after lunch, and then I'm done for the day. So it's nice, it's easy, it's simple. And it allows people to actually get their stuff done around all of the other stuff that they have going on at home. And if you are trying to manage a team remotely and you think that they are going to literally sit in front of their computer from the hours of 9 to 5, this is your wake-up call. That is not a healthy expectation to have. I cannot say that strongly enough. If you expect someone to be sitting in front of their computer for 8 straight hours while they are at home dealing with everything that is going on at home, that is a false expectation, and you are going to set yourself up for disappointment, and you are going to start having a lot of resentment for your team. So what you need to do is focus on the tasks. If they're getting their tasks done in a timely fashion, then what they do with the rest of their day is not your problem. All you need to start worrying about is not what you're paying them hourly, not what they're getting done, or when they're getting it done and how long they're sitting in front of the computer and how they're technically working. You can't treat it like an actual office. You need to have expectations set in place for yourself as well as the team to let them know that, yes, we get it. You're working from home, but you're also at home and trying to work. So you need to kind of have a little bit of grace. Let your people know that as long as they get their tasks done, that's cool. So it's going to go from paying them hourly to not really paying them a salary, but paying them to do the job. And if the job takes them 5 minutes, then that's great. If you think it should take them 5 hours and that's their only task for the day and it takes them 10 minutes, then the reason that it's taken them 10 minutes is because they are so good at their job that they can get it done perfectly in 5 minutes. And you can't penalize someone for that because they have spent years developing their skills and their talent, which is why they can complete the task a lot faster than you could. And by you thinking that it may take 5 hours, that just means that you don't know what they actually need to do. And you would be maybe looking up how to do it, researching how to do it, all of those other things where your person that you're paying, they already know how to do it. So that is why you're paying them so well. You're paying them for the job that you need done. And it doesn't matter how long it takes them. They have spent years learning that skill, and that is why you are paying them. So you need to throw out the old mentality of you need to sit in front of your computer from the hours of 9 to 5. The only thing that I need to kind of stress by saying that is that they still need to be reachable during business hours. So it's not like you can log into your computer, do everything that you need to do, and then head out for the day and go and completely abandon your work responsibilities. You still need to be able to be reachable. So you need to have like Slack and a communication thing basically installed on your phone so you can take it with you wherever you go, or bring your computer with you, or make sure that let's say I'm working in my office and my office is located downstairs and I'm upstairs for the remainder of the day. I finished everything that I want to do and I basically just decided I'm going to go watch Netflix in my bed. So what would I do? I'm going to bring my computer with me upstairs to my bed. Or what I'm going to do is every hour or so, I'm going to pop back downstairs and I'm going to check my communication channels, make sure that nobody has messaged me, kind of get caught up on what's going on if there's communication going on in a project thread that I am involved in. Even if it's not related to me, I still want to make sure that I'm kind of in the loop. So I'll come back down, I'll read everything that's going on, I'll chime in if I need to, and I'll stay if there's more communication that needs to happen, or if everything looks like it's handled, I will go back to doing what I was doing. That is the best way to work from home as someone that works for teams remotely. And then for myself, I also manage teams remotely. And having that ability to just trust people to get their stuff done and to not feel like you have to micromanage them is an amazing feeling. And that is one of the biggest things that I want to leave you with. This episode is going to be drastically shorter than my other ones because this topic is just so simple. It's hard, but it's simple. But what I want to leave you with is that micromanaging your team is not something that you need to be doing. So how to effectively manage a team remotely has absolutely nothing to do with micromanaging. Make sure they're getting their work done, but you don't need to breathe over them every 2 seconds of the day. You don't need to make sure that they are online for all 8 hours of the workday. You don't need to immediately ping them if you see that they have popped offline for a second, because that's something that can happen in Slack is if you go offline or log out, there's a little bucket beside you and it's not really a bucket, it's a little dot and it's green if you're online and I think it goes gray if you're not online. But regardless, that is something that you don't want to sit there and it's the moment someone goes gray, you don't want to message them because they could be on an important phone call with someone else on your team. They could be doing various other things and micromanaging them, making sure that they're staying online. All you're going to do is just create a really unpleasant work environment. You're going to boost the stress levels among your team, among yourself. It just gets really, really icky. And working from home is challenging enough, and you don't want to make it harder on your team. So focus on making sure that you are clearly communicating your expectations with your team, that you are clearly giving them their tasks that they need to do with concrete due dates and timelines and giving them all of the assets that they need in order to be able to complete their job. So things like that are going to make it 100% easier on everybody. And that is something that you will be thankful for in the end. So let your team do what they need to do. As long as they're getting their work done, that's fine. As long as they're reachable, that's fine. And make sure that you kind of stress, that you understand. Some people have children at home. Some people have deliveries happening. Some people have phone calls, doctor's appointments, all of these things that can interrupt a day. But as long as they can clearly communicate that like, hey, I'm stepping out for 30 minutes. I've already got everything done that I needed to do today. If anything should come up, I will address it when I get back. Boom, done. Simple. And things like that need to become more commonplace as you manage a team remotely. You have to remember that you are now working remotely. And if you are managing a team in the online space, then this is your normal. You need to basically hire people that you know are going to be able to get the job done for you, but they're not your employees. Unless you're paying them a salary to work for you 8 hours a day and have nothing else on the go, and you are paying them paying them at their rightful value, then you don't get to control what they do in a day. They are contract workers or freelancers, and they actually get to dictate this relationship. It does not go the other way around. The freelancers and the contract workers dictate the relationship that you have if you're managing the team. And all you need to do is make sure that you are giving them the correct amount of support and guidance and making sure that they understand the job that is due. And then you need to be able to step away and let them do what it is you're paying them to do. And you don't get to question what they do heading into later in the afternoon or early in the morning or whatever it is, unless there's something time sensitive. And if there's something time sensitive, you also need to take ownership for the fact that obviously things come up last minute and it might not be able to get completed as quickly as you would like. And you also need to take ownership for not seeing that task was going to be due. And you also need to take ownership for the fact that if you're asking for a last minute task, you are also kind of asking for something above and beyond what they assumed was on their plate for the day. So, moral of that story is make sure that you're giving people their tasks at least a day in advance so that there's not going to be any last minute rushing. And if it's a big task and you want it completed in one day, then give them 2. Always give them buffer room so that expectations and basically there won't be any disappointment or miscommunication or bad feelings at the end of the project. So those are a couple of my quick little tips that I just wanted to share with you today. I wanted to just kind of let you know that it's possible to work remotely and not feel like you are chained to your computer, and that it's possible to manage a team effectively and also not feel like you're micromanaging them. And another thing that I just want to kind of put out there too is limiting team phone calls. If only if it is essential, then you would hop on a team phone call. If you're just doing it to check in, that is not the right way to run a team. You want to make sure that you are using people effectively and having them on the phone call or on a phone call for an hour when it's something that could have just been simply stated through a Slack channel or even an email is something that I just cringe at. I am an introvert, true and true. I believe. I haven't done any personality tests or anything like that, but I find it incredibly exhausting having phone calls in the middle of my day when it could have been as simple as just an email check-in. Obviously, if you were doing a major project or things like that, then yes, you need to get on a phone call. You need to hammer that out. You need to be able to chat it out with everyone on your team. But if you're just doing a simple, like, where are you at right now? That can just be a simple one-line email, and then it can always lead to a phone call if it's needed. But it's not something that needs to happen every single day. Now, mind you, monthly, totally cool. Weekly, totally cool. But daily, no. Don't do that. It is going to ruin the flow of your team. It's going to make them feel like you don't trust them. And it's going to honestly become kind of a nuisance because not all the time can people just drop everything that they're doing and hop on a phone call. And you are, as I said before, you're not paying them to sit in front of their computer the whole day. You're paying them to get the job done. And if you're calling them randomly in the middle of the day, that's not allowing them to get their job done. Unless, of course, it is something urgent, something that needs to be chatted out, all of those things, obviously, then there are reasons for it. But limit the phone calls, limit the chats, and just let your team do the work that you're paying them to do. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys are having a great time. And I hope that you found a lot of value in this episode. And as always, if you have anything at all that you want to chat to me about, shoot me an email at flow@flowautomationinc.com, and I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Greater Than Business podcast at www.greaterthanbusiness.com.